Welcome back to the Black in Real Life podcast. I'm Anuli. This is episode 2 of the limited docuseries Black to School, where I take you along on my 5-year pursuit of a doctoral degree in 6 episodes. In this episode, I prepared to move to Atlanta, Georgia to conduct the formal fieldwork for my dissertation project on Black contract workers in creative and cultural industries. The 8 individual thought diary segments that you will hear in today's program were originally recorded between January 2022 through September 2022. I haven't recorded in a little bit. It was just a few weeks ago in December. Well, anyway, it's the new year, January. Semester hasn't started yet, but already a lot of things on my plate, but surprisingly not feeling overwhelmed. I am just scheduling things in accordance to, due dates as well as like my own ability to do the work. I'm taking things stone by stone, small chunks, and, making time for my own sanity, even if it's just to have a day. Like yesterday, I just laid in bed and watched TV all day. Even though I have a lot of things to do, I was just my body wasn't feeling it. So I listened to myself, and that was the best decision ever. I feel more well rested. Got back to doing things today, but, I'm feeling overall pretty optimistic about the year ahead, even though it's in the next 6 months. In the next 6 months, I'll be moving out of my apartment because I only have my lease until the next 6 months. I've extended my lease. It was due February let me extend it to June. So I'll be moving out of my apartment out of New York. I will be ideally starting my life or field work in Atlanta. I would have by June ideally become ABD, which means I have done everything but my dissertation. So I passed my courses. I would have passed my courses, which I did this semester. I only have 4 credits left. Last semester, I only have 4 credits left for the spring. So basically, and then pass my exams. I have one more first week of February and the other one in May. When I pass them both, I will be closer to ABD. And I also have to propose or submit a proposal for my project, what I want to do, what I intend to do in Atlanta. And if all of that is passed and approved, then I'm ABD. And I think it's very possible. This semester is just going to be I'm TAing a course in linguistics, trying to expand my experience. And I'm going to be applying for every grant and also taking on more consulting clients. That's exciting. I have now 4 consulting clients, but 3 are in work right now. So that's cool. Just really about opening opportunities, getting to the bag. I feel optimistic. I have had a hard week. I've had a hard month. I have been through the fire and I'm still healing from those burns. And the funny thing is, a lot of it is not necessarily have to do with my dissertation project at all. It's just every other part of life and being in a city that I no longer wish to live in. I do not like New York City anymore. I do not want to be here. I feel trapped. The weather, seasonal depression, it's just not good. And all of this happened as I was preparing to take my comprehensive exams, and I'm going through this emotional break while I'm writing this exam. I submitted work that I think is very strong and I'm very proud of it, but it was hard to even get up the energy to do it, and I'm still getting through it. And teaching on top of that, so I don't know how other grad students teach on top of taking full course loads, because I've done that before, but that was during like when we were all on Zoom, so it's a little easier. But teaching takes so much time in person, just to commute alone, and it's just a lot. Like, I'm not even taking courses this semester. I'm teaching and taking like a reading course, but the teaching is taking a lot of time, and I have other things I need to be doing, and I have other things I am doing, and I'm just trying to manage all of my responsibilities, both personal and professional. So today I decided to do a little bit of apartment hunting, or just enough to get a feel for the areas and narrow down on the neighborhoods that I would want to live in Atlanta. And like any city, you definitely associate certain neighborhoods with certain personas or vibes. Like, for example, my time in Atlanta last year, I learned, I'm not a Midtown or a Buckhead person. I kind of associate that with like people who are like really in the entertainment industry. They want to be seen and see and be seen type of person. And yes, I do study content creators and people who either work or adjacent to the entertainment industry, but like I also have to consider like my own personal preferences and personal lifestyle needs. So I do want to live somewhere that's close enough to get me to the type of people I want to like work with and study, but also just feel good to escape from my work. So I'm balanced in that. And also, on top of that, a lot of content creators actually live in the suburbs of Atlanta, like Fayetteville, for example. So I need to live somewhere that gets me close enough to some of the southern suburbs where I know some of them live, to also close enough to downtown. But me personally, I'm finding myself becoming partial for the east side, just on a personal level. So I do want to live around like that area, like East Atlanta area, which I think it's good. It's a good in-between area. Not East Atlanta specifically, the neighborhood, even though that's on my list, but generally the east side of the city. So one thing that strikes me as I'm going through these apartment websites, it's definitely the way that they package and market the neighborhoods. A lot of coded language to speak to the type of high income renter that they're looking for. Things like, down the street from Orange Theory. If you go to Orange Theory, that signals a certain economic class and a certain, like, young and rich, or or not rich, but like young and doing well. Like, you have a good job that you can afford to go to Orange Theory, and you can go to these restaurants, and you're in the middle of it all, and they're like really promoting the fact that they're near these particular restaurant landmarks, things with names that people are supposed to recognize. And it's this style of living, a lot of like pet friendly. Like, we have the dog park, and there's a special cafe for your dog. There's a fitness center and a lot of amenities, because there's so many apartment complexes in Atlanta that they have to use the amenities to distinguish themselves from one another. And I'm not used to this, being someone that has been living in New York, or even when I lived in Chicago. Just certain amenities are just basic. Like, you're going to have a washer and dryer in your unit, or at least in your building. I'm not used to that. You're going to have fitness centers, pretty much seems to be basic at this point. Rec room, rooftop access. Like, in New York, this sounds like a luxury. Like, you're paying like more than $2,000 easily for this. Whereas in Atlanta, its rent is increasing, but you can get one bedroom that is 700 something square feet for 1,600. And while that is still expensive to people that are native to Atlanta, for someone that's coming from, New York or Los Angeles, that's like, oh wow, that's a deal. So I'm trying to put these two things together. Like, I don't want to, in my head, overpay for something that I know is probably not worth it. But at the same time, being in New York and $1,600 doesn't get you very far at all. Like, it's kind of cool to see how much more you can get just by moving to a different city. And I don't know, living in New York has kind of traumatized me because I just expect so little, and I have to raise my personal what's the word I'm looking for? I just raise my standards because New York, you just accept not even the bare minimum. It's like you accept below the floor because you just take what you can get. Whereas Atlanta, I have to be wait, I can get a little more. I mean, probably going to pay a little bit, but I can get a little more. And I'm at this point, I'm in my 30s. I deserve some amenities. 20s was not cute. So I'm looking forward to moving to Atlanta professionally to do my work, obviously, but also just personally to be in a different space. And yeah. At this point, I feel good about the progress I am making towards my goal of becoming ABD. Have a strategy for working towards IRB, Institutional Review Board approval of my research, which is this department within the university that has to approve all research that incorporates human subjects, and you have to make sure your project is approved before you can even actually start anything. So I know what I need to do for that. I will be working on drafting my proposal for my committee this week. And this proposal is the same proposal I will use for my major grants, and a lot of the language I'll also use for this IRB proposal. So this articulation of my project would be a multi-use document, and it's been largely written in bits and pieces in my notes app of my phone for a while now, just thoughts as they come up. I'm going to organize it and put it into a proper document this week. And I think that I can do the things that even the IRB person was you're ahead of the curve, and you're asking more detailed questions than I usually get. So even the IRB person feels confident. So that's good. And yeah, it's the time to really flex this type A Virgo side of me and get this ish done. I feel good now. Today I'm just going to spend the rest of my afternoon reading books towards my comprehensive exam. I kind of just want to get offline, log off the computer, and just read these physical books I have towards my exam. And also, this may help me also towards my proposal, just getting some data in me. Some days you just need to step away from the computer and read offline. And that's what I'll do today. And tomorrow or the weekday after, I'll start on, putting the language of my proposal together, which I already have because I have a plan of study document, and I think I did a good job articulating my project there. But that's been from over a year ago, and I definitely have evolved my thinking in a productive way. So using that as a foundation and just expanding upon it is what I would do. But I feel good. Okay, so at this point, I have a month before I meet my goal of becoming a PhD candidate. According to my very Virgo laid out plan, finishing my third final comprehensive exam in passing, and then defending my proposal are the main things, and also getting IRB approval for my project. But that is something that's important to do so I can start my fieldwork in the summer, but it won't hinder me from becoming a candidate if I don't get it in the next month. But my plan is to get it within the next month so I can feel comfortable and confident, like just get it into the field and preparing for my move to Atlanta, which I'm very excited about because I'm very summer walker to New York. I'm over it. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. And I'm ready to start this new chapter of my life professionally and personally in Atlanta, Georgia. I have an apartment, excitement, and I will say like the past year, this year, whatever the months of this year have been, I no good. Been dealing with a lot of stuff, yet still persevering as I do. I would like to be a soft girl. I would like to retire from being a strong girl. I would like to be soft. So I got to push through these next few weeks, which means I have to be that strong girl that just perseveres and pushes through things and manages and just makes do. But after these next few weeks of like deadlines and things, application deadlines, finishing the semester of like assisting as a TA and getting, the things I need to do to become a candidate, I would just like to focus on my move and, work towards a soft girl life. Still working, obviously, because I have to do the actual field work. For years in a PhD program, you spend your first 3 years talking about what you're finna do. Like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I propose to do this. My hypothesis is that. But now it's time for me to actually execute on my proposal and do the things that I said that I want to do. So it's in many ways, it's like go time, but I'm excited about it because it's like this project is under my control. It's not like reporting to somebody in a classroom setting and managing people in a classroom setting. It's like, this is my project and, time to go, time to do it. Obviously, in many ways, you got to work with your collaborators, like the people who you're studying. But I'm excited to meet them. I'm excited to see what the field is going to be. And yeah, ready for the next chapter. In another occasion, somebody should talk about why we call it fieldwork, because I feel like I'm a Black person going into the field. We must come up with another name for this. But that is an aside. Right now, in this moment, I'm feeling good, which is great progress because last week I couldn't say the same. But right now, it's Monday, and I'm optimistic. Overwhelmed by the things I have to do, but confident that I will do them. My belongings have finally arrived from New York. Very excited to formally settle in. I moved here on July 9th, and it is now July 23rd, and I'm just getting my belongings from New York. So excited. A couple just things I wanted to note that just came up during the move-in process today. So we were downstairs. I was with the movers in the move-in truck, and this lady from my building, I hadn't met her before. Obviously, there's so many neighbors I have yet to meet. She comes out, and she's a bald baddie like me. Love that for us. And she says, moving in or moving out? I said, I'm moving in. She says, where from? I say, New York. And then she shares some sentiments about how there are so many people from New York, New Jersey moving to Atlanta. And when they come, they're taking all the good jobs and, just all of the best work, all the best jobs are going to these people from outside, right, from New York. So that's something to consider, the way Atlanta's population has, I'm going to say, evolved, shifted grown, and where the people are coming from, and what impacts people moving here, myself included. What impact does that have on the city and work in the city? Who are getting the jobs that are available? Are they going to natives, or are these jobs being outsourced out to people that live outside of Atlanta, or people coming from outside of Atlanta to now take on these jobs, people from different markets? So that's just something to consider. Another thing to consider is I was talking to one of the movers themselves, and he was saying how much trouble they have trying to find people to do this work, to do the work of moving, particularly long distance moving, but just working for the company doing the moves. And he was saying a long distance move like what he just did for me, he, on his end, gets paid like $8,000 to $10,000 a week for these long distance drives. It's different, because they're going to different places. So there was a stop before mine, and I'm sure they have other stops after mine. But they get paid $8,000 to $10,000 a week. I certainly do not. Okay, so it just is notable for me, because you might see somebody that's a PhD student like myself, and you see someone that's a mover, and you make assumptions based off of that. But obviously he's making significantly more money than I'm making. I'm definitely not making $8,000 to $10,000 a week. That's for damn sure. So how do we value work, and how much of the way we value work comes with these perceived status notions? The status of certain careers, like academia, has a lot of status and prestige. Does it have the pay to follow it? No, not necessarily. So there are some jobs that have status and prestige, but they don't have the same financial, I can't think of the word right now. All I'm saying is the status and prestige doesn't always equate to having a high income. These jobs have status, but they may not have they may have knowledge status, but knowledge capital, but they don't have, thank you, economic capital. Okay, Bordeaux in my nerd bag. So, how does that play into the way we think about work? Listen, I'm in the middle of moving right now. I'm really just trying to decorate. So my brain is not trying to brain and be all scholarly, but I just wanted to capture these thoughts as they were coming to me, because the way we think about work, there's a lot that falls into it, and we would assume, I tell people I'm a PhD student, and they're like, oh, so easily impressed, oh my goodness, you're a PhD student. It also makes the conversations awkward a little bit, because I feel like people think that I'm judging them on their intelligence, and I'm really not. I would actually prefer not to talk about work outside of work, even though my life is this work. You know what I'm saying? It's very all-encompassing, so we don't have to talk about my dissertation at all, actually. I'm actually I don't even say up front I'm a PhD student. People, icebreakers, what do you do for work? And I'm like, I'm a student, and I just leave it at that, because the way I look, some people might think I'm an undergrad student, or who knows. Even the mover was like, you still look like a student, so I'm going to take that youthful look and youthful energy, even though I'm fully in my 30s. That is an aside. What I'm trying to say is that why is this company having trouble finding movers? There are obviously people who would love to make $8,000 to $10,000 a week, but maybe they're not even considering this as an option. Even this mover himself told me he has a whole master's degree, but he's choosing to do this work because the money is so good, and obviously it is. So how do you kind of educate people on the different types of jobs that are available? And it's an interesting juxtaposition to put these two jobs together, when we think about economic capital versus social prestige. So, like I said, academia has social prestige, but not necessarily always economic capital. Obviously, there are nuances to this discussion, and I'm sure that there are academics that would counter that for many people going to pursue secondary education is a launch pad into the middle class, blase, blase, blase. But let's keep it funky. Who is making $8K a week? Not I. And I know my professors are probably not. Anyway, so a job in academia has social prestige, but not necessarily economic capital associated with that. Whereas this mover's job has the economic capital, but not necessarily the social prestige. So how do people determine where to work and what they value when they're looking for work? Obviously, money is important, but it may not be the number one thing for everybody, because if it were, then a lot of us would not be in academia, right? We would be pursuing other things. I could be remaining in the marketing industry. But anyway, other tangent, real talk. I ain't trying to be a professor after this. Listen, economic capital makes a difference. Soft life girls take this PhD straight to a corporation and try to work remotely. Anyway, I just want to get these thoughts out. I'm hungry now. I got a lot of unpacking to do. There's a lot of things in my apartment that need to be put away. Excited to do it. Ready to make a home for myself, and then I can actually think properly. Right now, my brain is as messy as this apartment. Today is Tuesday, August 9th. It is exactly a month since I moved to Atlanta. And what a month it has been. A lot of highs, a lot of lows. And have I started my dissertation project? Not officially. There again are logistical aspects of life that have to be taken care of before one can focus on one's work. At least this is the privilege I have, to be able to table the work for a little bit in order to get a handle on my own life. Things like settling into a new state, in many ways of being, are important and are under discussed when it comes to anthropology. But again, life as an anthropologist is part of the project. Everyone I speak to, every place I go, I learn more and more about the city and reaffirm what drew me to Atlanta in the first place. A few things I needed to work on to kind of get myself settled. One of those things was to get a car. I live in a very walkable area, but you can only walk so far. The MARTA can only take you so far. Sometimes the directions on Google say to take 2 trains and then take an Uber. Uber prices are basically car notes. The amount of Ubers that one would take in a month, you might as well, get a car note, right? Because they do add up. There's only so much I can use with public transportation, especially when I want to actually start to meet with people, and do participant observation. And the participant observation I want to do may sometimes be in central Atlanta, but may also be in one of the suburbs within the Atlanta metropolitan area. So definitely 100% need a car to kind of live here. So I had to somehow, as a graduate student, buy a car. This is my first car. I've never needed a car in the cities I've lived in before. I've lived since I turned 18, I've lived in Boston, I've lived in DC, I've lived in Chicago, I've lived in New York. These are cities that didn't necessarily need a car to get around. Atlanta is a city that you need a car to get around. But then even with the car, there are a lot of payments. There is, if you're financing, you got to pay for that monthly. You need car insurance, that's a monthly expense. Gas is a monthly expense in here. Some places have free parking, but more crowded places within the city of Atlanta, like downtown Atlanta, you got to pay for parking. Valet parking is a thing here. So things add up. My living expenses from moving here have increased. Has my pay increased as a graduate student? No, not necessarily, which means I have to come up with ways to make up for the difference, which means I'm really pushing myself to find more freelance work and contract work that I can use my skill sets from my marketing background in particular to do remotely, ideally, to make that extra income to make up the difference. Because I don't have external grants yet. I don't have a lot of financial resources outside of my stipend and outside of like just whatever I make happen for myself. Right? I don't have people paying my way for anything. Everything is really on me. And that's just the facts. But in order to do this work that everyone says is interesting and innovative and, exciting, I gotta find a way to live. Quality of life is significantly better here in many ways. And I do not see myself moving back up north for any reason. I feel settled, as I feel comfortable, at least in the South, at least from Maryland and below. I don't see myself living above Maryland. I'm from Maryland, by the way. I don't see myself living above Maryland. I have suffered enough, to say the least. I learned recently from this revelation that my mom had, is that I was literally allergic to my apartment. And I don't say that to be cute. I won't get into the details of it, but I was literally allergic to my apartment. And New York is not a very sanitary city. I'll say that. And it negatively impacted not just my emotional, mental health, but literally my physical health. I have seen more specialists than I care to share in the past year. And we were able to trace that back to my apartment. Am I going to do anything about it? I'm just really trying to move on. That apartment has been rented to somebody else. I don't know if they will deal with the same. They should probably just condemn the building at this point. But my health has increased significantly for moving out in many ways. And I can only thank God that His grace has gotten me to this point where I can have a much higher quality of life than I've ever actually had in my adult life in any other city that I lived in. So I want to just express gratitude for that. The work will get done, the dissertation project will get done, but I have to take care of myself first. I love this idea of just being my own boss. It's the times when I am creating and producing the work that feels right to me, that is a reflection of who I am as a person, is the work that resonates the most with other people. It's not about when I've worked for these companies or going to school. Sure, those things kind of legitimize me, but people are drawn to me for me and the my unique creative self, and that is exciting to realize that like, yeah, I do have what it takes to make a living off of just putting out the work that I want to see into the world and being like the judge of it myself, as opposed to like waiting to be affirmed by these institutions. And this is really exciting to me. Like, yes, obviously I'm still in the PhD program, but listen, it's just a means to an end. It's just the little bit of emphasis on the little bit of income that I can use to support myself as I produce these projects, which are also like based off of like similar subjects of my research. I think everything in my life is just coming together with such alignment. Like the right people will be drawn to me. And if you're not drawn to it, then it's not for you. You know, I don't chase, I attract. I never want to apply for a job again. I just want to attract work. You know, I am applying for jobs. I am not applying for jobs. I am attracting work. I am attracting actually opportunities. And this is exciting when people see you for who you are and what you have to offer. So, yay. I feel good today. I had a great meeting with a potential new client, and her project is the type of project I want to be working on, the type of person that I want to be supported. And it's just alignments. This week is alignment. What the A is for alignment. God bless. You have just listened to an episode of the Blk Irl podcast. I'm your producer, host, and everything in between, Anuli. If you enjoyed this episode, then please take a moment to leave a podcast review and share the show with everyone you know. Visit the Blk Irl website at www.blkirl.com and follow Blk Irl on Instagram at BLKIRL. I appreciate every listener who has been with me from the start and everyone who is just tuning in. Your engagement and feedback mean the world to me. The music for this program was composed by me, Anuli, for Blk Irl, in collaboration with Private Astronaut. Thanks for listening. Until we meet again, stay black, stay real, and definitely stay tuned.